They say never judge a book by its cover. Well, there are some people you cannot label as criminals by simply looking at them, the way they act and the way they present themselves in public. But you'll be shocked to learn that they have committed terrible crimes in the past. In this video, we look at people you never guessed were criminals. Mark Wahlberg. You might not believe this, but one of Hollywood's most loved actors has a dark past. Though not a murderer, unless you count murdering our hope for humanity during The Happening, he has committed multiple hate crimes, one of them leading to a charge of attempted murder. The fighter himself is indeed no stranger to brawling, especially when it comes to members of other cultures. Wahlberg settled 2 civil suits for 2 separate incidents of chasing black children, throwing rocks at them, and yelling racial slurs. The following year, Wahlberg committed 2 separate assaults on Vietnamese Americans, in both cases also yelling racial slurs. For the last attack, Wahlberg was sentenced to 2 years in jail, but only served 1.5 months. Bruno Fernandes. Rarely do you hear of an athlete who committed a serious crime. However, this one is pretty serious. Soccer player Bruno Fernandes de Souza, aka Bruno, kidnapped, tortured, and murdered his mistress. Then he fed her body to his dogs, and then, of course, he continued making an obscene amount of money playing professional sports. Bruno was charged with the crime, of course, but served less than 7 years in prison, after which he swiftly and effortlessly renewed his sports career. As crazy as it sounds, Bruno was at one point sent back to prison, only to be released within 2 years. And then, you guessed it, more job offers and more soccer. Chris Benoit was a professional wrestler who found success across all 3 of the major wrestling promotions in the 90s, participated in WWE's Attitude Era, which many consider the industry's golden age, and held numerous titles throughout his career. He was, in every way, a wrestling icon. Despite being described by his colleagues as kind, quiet, funny, polite, and likable, Benoit spent a weekend in 2007 torturing and murdering his family and then killing himself. Though chronic head injuries and drug use later gained traction as potential inciting factors, no one at the time could have expected Benoit's actions. WWE even aired a 3-hour tribute to Benoit the night after his suicide, learning of his family's death and naturally assuming he had been just another victim. Dean Caul, aka the Candyman, is regarded as one of the worst serial killers in American history, having kidnapped, raped, tortured, and murdered at least 28 people. A rap sheet like that tends to overshadow any other deeds in a person's life. But oddly enough, Caul's life before the vicious crimes was as upstanding as it gets. Though we wish they would have, no one could have suspected Caul's true monstrous nature. The Candyman nickname comes from the fact that Caul helped run his family company, the Caul Candy Company. He had a reputation in his community for handing out free candy to children, and because of this became somewhat beloved. In between stints at the Candy Company, Caul joined the US Army, and his term therein was untarnished. Even as a kid, there was nothing notable about Caul. He was simply a good, quiet student. No one would have expected the evil he would later inflict on his community. Harold Shipman. Harold Shipman, also known as the Angel of Death and Dr. Death, is one of the worst serial killers in history. After his arrest, an official inquiry into his crimes concluded that Shipman had killed at least 218 people, with a likely estimate of around 250. Shipman was, frankly, a monster. But before his sicker side was revealed, no one would have expected Shipman to be anything but a caring physician. As was replayed many times following his arrest, Shipman even appeared on a popular TV series, advocating for better treatment for the mentally ill. As the media pointed out so often, Shipman seemed nice and normal. In reality, he was about as far from nice as the modern world has seen. Karl Denker seemed to be the epitome of a model citizen. Living in Poland, then part of Germany, in the early 1900s, Denker worked as a farmer, gardener, and meat vendor. He volunteered at his local church as a cross-bearer and organist, and his neighbors thought well of him. They even affectionately referred to him as Papa. The problem with Papa was that unbeknownst to anyone else, he spent decades killing and eating dozens of people. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed watching this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you can see our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.